All right, I'm on the 1 second time frame here for the mini NASDAQ. We're gonna see just how we can get this explained here. So basically, what we're looking for is a peak to beat, leaving a gap. What I mean by that is, let's see, it's hard to explain here. Basically, you're looking for a continuation, but there's no gaps here. Um, let's see. We're on the 1 minute because there's a lot more plays. Here's one. Here it breaks up above. So let me zoom in. So here, if that peak comes up, then we beat that peak. Okay. The moment we beat that peak, we want to look at the price, and we want to make sure that it's above um, the midline. So it's favoring us to go upwards. So let's take a look at that. We beat it right here. And so basically your entry, let me see if I get that here. Your entry is here. And you look back at that peak that you beat. Okay. You want to go up to how high that is. That's basically where it's going to go. So, and you want to put your stop below here. So obviously, um, not a great risk to reward ratio, but very high chance. But you don't have to enter that play. That's just a sign. That's just a signal there. So now I gotta find another one. Let's see here. We beat this. Nope. You basically want to see that there has to be some room go further down if we're going down. So can't beat it right here. Nope. So there's no room there. We're beating this. That's already been beat here. There's no point. See this. That's also been beat. So there's no point in doing that. Let's see if we can just do a live one. It might be easier than look. Okay. So here, since we're up against the midline here, I'll do a sell. This is the second part of the strategy. Because if it were to beat this line, let's say if it beats this peak right here, then I know it's going to come up to here and it's going to reject. It's going to test here. So I actually move my line up here a little bit. So it's already beat it. So I should pull down here. I just have to wait for it to come down to here. So in doing so, when it comes down, so let's say MACD comes down to here, the price hasn't. It means there's a gap left over. And so the MACD can just keep going. It's either the price hits checks this line here, or MACD will hit a low MACD, whichever one hits first. So what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna enter in the short. Hit my exit point is down here. So there's a gap created. It's not there yet. It hasn't got down. Basically, you need a MACD that's lower than this. So where this is, there it is. Let's make a MACD that's lower. Now it's lower. There it is. And it still hasn't tapped that price, so there's a gap. So that gap can get filled here. There it is, here, there. We got tapped. Now we just wait. So what we're waiting for is, here's the divergence here. It's sweeping here, and this is higher. I'm just waiting for it to actually come down to this level. So I'm waiting for it to come down again, sweep one more time before I go up. So what I'm waiting for is this, a higher low here, and I want this to be a lower low. I want double divergence. So I just want one red here before I go in. That's pretty good. It's already entered the top, so I'm just gonna do that. It's already past the midpoint. So we check back. We're higher than this peak. Look what this peak is. It's all up here. So I bring this back down. I'm gonna give myself some room. About 20 points there, or $20 there. So basically there's a gap here. There's a gap here. And as it comes down, I'll just add to the position. So ideally this would have gone a little bit lower, and this would have been like that. And then would have gotten a chance to enter and then have a bigger jump. Just more money there. But because it reclaimed the midline, upward momentum, that was good too. So I'm just waiting for this to beat and this to beat at the same time. There it is. Now it's above this, so it has to clear this right here. So it comes down to here, I'll add again. As far as down to here, I can add. Then there's another peak here I can add. But underneath here, if the MACD will break below here, I would just exit. Let me get rid of this here. It's pretty close there. I mean, it's really hard to tell on the 1 second, especially if ES had already tapped that on the ES graph. So we'll let it play through here. Looking pretty good. I'll just move that up. So recap here, we beat this peak right here. We beat again and we're staying above that peak. And so if we look back, so it's basically upward momentum, and we look back, that peak is actually all the way up here. And so we have a price gap. And our momentum is upwards, our bias is upwards, and we were to come down, here we can add, here we can add, here we can add, see like that, spikes. Even here we can add, and it sweeps. If it comes down to here, it's even stronger, it'll be a bigger blast. Like a really big candle. So here, let me add here. So it could reverse here. If you take a look, the same strategy could go down. So there's a gap here, and the MACD is lower, like right here. So there's a gap, price gap right here. You can see that because the MACD is now lower than this point. So the price would want to enter down to here. So the lower it comes down these peaks, the bigger the spike's going to be. You can see these candles are more solid, bigger movements. They swept this peak, double peak here. So this peak would just be a really big spike up. Again, we could have taken these. We just move this down a little bit here because this is the new peak. We could have just exited there. But again, it could have also already tripped on the ES versus the NQ. But we're just gonna hold out here. I gotta move this back down because I wanted to trip here and bounce off of this. Here we go, added a position. And there it is. That's the price gap there. So the gap down has been filled. Now we're just waiting for it to go up. Here's what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about here. We have a lower low. We want to make it higher. There it is, like that. Coming all the way back up to here. See how we beat this peak here? It's higher. So if we look at the price, it should at least hit here. And then what we want to do is we want to beat this peak as well. So then it would trip over here as well as this. There you go. Trip that. And there it is, the higher peak. So now momentum should be going up. Just adding a position here. And I could just move this down to added position. So we're just looking at the top of this peak here. It should also clear this because it's higher right now. But it can go up and down and then back up and beat that peak. It could also beat this as well. So it's just easier to take this than to get 3 extra points here. It's good to just go up and down several times before it hits it. 1 second is not great overnight. It's just a lot of dots here, a lot of missing data. But during the day, it's a lot better. So you can see here, it's going to come down to here. This is past these peaks. So it's very likely want to tap that. We don't have to worry about this peak being tripped because this won't beat it. And there it is, big spike. So whenever you get a chicken leg or a hockey stick like this, basically you don't want to play. You want to wait for like a peak against. So you need data. So here what we're doing is the lower comes down to here, or it can make peaks like here, and then I can add here, and then add there, and then add there. So it's lower here, so it's likely gonna come down, and it's only that much points left of a gap. So, and here it is. There's no point in me entering short to take that. I'll just enter long instead for the bounce. And here as well, let's just say that the low here, if we were to go like that, then this hopefully will be very close, so there's very little of a gap to go down. And that would give us our divergence. If we can get that, then this goes like that. And that goes like that. So we get a divergence like that to go up even higher. There's our divergence right there. In the divergence, you want to see this peak beat. This peak peaks right here, so then it's a small gap here. very small gap. The divergence is here's a low and then like that. So this peak's a tough peak right here to beat because this MACD has to beat this. It has to shoot up and be above this. You see like that. And we have to stay low on price. So hopefully we just stay like that so that we can have a gap. The bigger the gap difference, the more money we make. There you go. Here's the price cat. We made it. We didn't beat this low here, so that's divergence there. Okay, so we beat this peak, so I should at least hit this. Basically a gap right here. Beat this peak. I want it to happen like that, so then we can actually target up here. I'll just do the lower candle here because I don't know, I can't tell where the wick is. This. Just waiting and waiting. Beat this peak. This peak is beat, so that should be tapped. There we go. We got this one cleared. We got that cleared. We got this cleared. Now we're trying to target this. It's a tough one. It's a pretty high. It's a really high peak. That usually just means that it has to come down several times this week. Go, we beat it. Almost there. Get this peak. I'll just take this here. I know for sure we should hit this. I just don't want it to come down again and then take time to get back up again. Just for an extra like 10 points or $10. So that just tapped it. We didn't beat it for very long. Look back here, we can see this right here. If we sweep down here, we sweep like this, and we beat this, there's a potential bounce here, but it has potential to hit here and gap close, go down. So you could move your stop up to here, so that you prevent this gap from happening. So it either goes up or it takes you out here. That should be close enough there. Definitely you should just take that exit there. This keeps happening to me here right on the dots where it doesn't trip. Yeah. Hits exactly and then it doesn't trip. Happens dozens of times a day. Here it is, we're down low here. So we should have taken that there. I'll just put this exit right here. If it doesn't go back up, then I'll just take this. If it does, then I'll take it. So short here. We're gonna fill the gap down here. Be very careful because there is a peak right here that it could bounce off of. So there you go. Went by. Beat this peak. Oh no, it didn't. Wait. Beats this peak. You should check out right here. Divergence here. Give us some more room. Divergence here. Here. There's the beat. There it is. I beat this as well. So I'll just move it up to there. And it checks this peak. So we don't expect it to hit up here, at least not yet, until it clears it. But right here, it clears this. So we can expect to hit somewhere around here. Okay, so we have a potential gap this big. Another divergence here. Yeah, bounce off this peak, and we also have this peak right here to catch it. If we do, then we'll move down again, so we can get this to bounce up. Just waiting and waiting. We see here this MACD beat this peak, but our price already beat it. There's no gap here. And here we beat it. Beat it with the price already. Beat it with the price already. So we move back to the next peak right up here. This is the next one that we're remaining above. This price is up here. So this is our gap. Down here, this means I could target here. So there's a gap here. So we come down to here, and we're waiting for it to come up here. The reason we're biased long is because of this total volume right here that's above the midline. And we have very little volume below the midline. We beat this peak, the price is already there. So we have basically oversold. We're going to use this to catch and bounce up. Waiting for divergence here. Down and up. And it beats this peak even better. This peak here is here. So if we wanted to get a quick exit, we could just take this. And move this lower here, give it some room, and divergence again. And same thing happened again. Huge sweep and divergence. Massive divergence here. We beat this peak. It's all the way up here. So massive, massive divergence. Or massive, massive gap here. So just move that break even there. So again, we can see here that this right here corresponds to this lower peak. It's a little lower. It has the ability to come down to here for price. However, we're very close to the midline here, so there's no reason to short it. Oh, and there it is again. There we go. Tapped it. Well, that should about do it. I don't want to make this video too long.